Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again. My name is Ben, the Brainsmasher. We're going to talk about metal for a little bit. This is going to be a collection update, and I want to answer a question that I got in a comment on my last video. We're going to be listening to Lugabrum, Brune Troon. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but killer Belgian black metal. Real fucking weird. This guy's got dicks coming out of his armpits. Anyways, hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all surviving the winter. I'm doing alright. So I've gotten a few things in since the last video. First of all, Darkthrone's Wind of 666 Black Hearts. This is a Peaceville reissue of some of their older demos, which I think have been unreleased until now. The reason I was interested in this, usually this isn't really the kind of thing I would pick up, but Under a Funeral Moon is one of my fucking favorite records ever. And this is rehearsal versions of those songs, as well as Soulside Journey songs, as well as songs from A Blaze in the Northern Sky. That made me interested, and I found it for a pretty good price through $20 spin. So I picked it up for I think $25, and I'm happy to have it. It's pretty good. It's really interesting to hear the songs from Soulside Journey alongside the songs from A Blaze in the Northern Sky. You think of those albums as being so different. One's death metal, one's black metal, but honestly, if you hear them both, you know, played in a rehearsal alongside one another, it's really interesting to hear the similarities and how the characteristics that you love about Darkthrone are in both of those albums. You know, I sometimes say Soulside Journey is one of the best Swedish death metal albums ever recorded. But I don't know, Darkthrone were just amazingly talented band. So that was a good buy. Next, I got this in. This is Vedboinzend, one of my favorite bands. This is just a reissue of their demo with some bonus tracks on it. I already had, until last summer, I had 2 copies of this CD from Misanthropy. I mainly bought it just to have an official version, and also just to have these demos that I was curious about. It's kind of confusing. The band, the pre-Vedboinzend band was called Manes, M-A-N-E-S, or Manes. So this is what Vikotnik was doing before he joined Carl Michael in Vedboinzend. So it's kind of interesting to hear his early workings. Honestly, that's really all this is worth. The packaging in this is nothing to write home about. It's pretty boring. But I found it for a decent price, and I wanted to pick it up because it's one of my favorite bands. Next, I got a couple of CDs from Cranium. This is Speed Metal Sentence and Speed Metal Slaughter. These came out on Necropolis back in the late 90s, and if you ever wonder why Dawn didn't do anything after Slaughter Sun, this is what those fuckers were working on instead of Slaughter Sun. It makes me really pissed because I fucking love Dawn so much, and it's kind of a joke to think that they went on and played in some retro thrash band. Regardless, these are fucking super, super fun, excellent thrash recordings, kind of like Aura Noir, I guess I would say. You know, there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek kind of fun going on. Anyway, these aren't the real deal. The real deal versions of these things go for between like $50 and $75 consistently. I've been keeping an eye on them on Discogs, and no one ever sells these for less than that amount of money. So I found these Russian bootlegs, and I thought, you know what, maybe if I get the Russian bootlegs, it will tempt me less to spend that much money on the real thing. And I guess I would say it works. The last time I bought a Russian bootleg, it was fucking amazing. The quality on that thing, you could tell me it was the real thing, and I would have believed you. I don't understand how they can pull off such a perfect replication. These, however, are not as good. So keep that in mind if this interests you at all. There's band photos. There's nothing missing as far as I can tell. Everything looks to be good. Just that the coloration on the booklet is kind of shit. It looks like they just made color copies from the originals, you know. The sound quality, I guess I would say, is probably on par with the real things. Like I said, I don't have anything to compare them to, but they're pretty good. Super fun. The guitar tone on these, while it isn't actually recorded in Sunlight Studios with Thomas Skogsberg, but the guitar tone sounds exactly like it. So that's just kind of a surprise. Another thing I noticed that I never knew about was that James Murphy engineered this album, and Gene Hoglan engineered this album. Just a weird fucking fact. Anyways, super fun band from Sweden, and goddammit, Dawn, I wish you would do another Dawn album. What the fuck is wrong with you? Next, I just got this in today. This is Emeth. This is, I want to say they're from Belgium also. The album is called Aether. This came out on Extreme Music in 2014. Not my typical type of music, but this is the most brutal death metal I've fucking heard in the last few years. So fucking intense. It's like if you took everything I hate about slam out and just made it intensely fucking brutal, compact, and like claustrophobic. This band is so fucking good. I hope you'll listen to this in the description down below. Look for the link. Give it a listen. It's so fucking cool. I don't understand why more people don't listen to this band. It's, like I said, it kind of borders on a lot of genres that I don't really like, or like have tendencies that really turn me off to them without having to go through those kinds of things. So I really fucking love this band. Next, I talked about this not too long ago in another video. This is Mortualia, Wild Wild Misery. Super great solo project from Shetraug of Horna. Suicidal kind of black metal, introspective, emotional, a little more honest, I guess, for what he usually does, but fucking great album. I picked this up on Amazon. And last but not least, this is Jutgeit, or Jutgeit. I'm not sure how he wants you to pronounce it. Packaging wise, this artist is not so hot. I fucking hate these DVD cases. I fucking hate these things. I told myself I was not ever gonna buy a release by this guy as long as he was putting out fucking DVD cases. Actually, it's a CDR in a DVD case. But this album got a lot of hype this year. I think Vice's Noisy did a story on this. It was on a lot of year-end lists. I think Stereo Gum even mentioned it on their year-end list. But I do fucking love this artist. Their album Vast Change was really good a couple of years ago. He puts out about 2 or 3 full lengths a year, and every once in a while one of them is not good at all. There was one last year that I didn't really like, and I thought maybe that was it for this guy. But this album is the latest one, and it's really interesting stuff. Highly experimental black metal. This is like the furthest thing from Darkthrone you could possibly get. He uses microtonal guitars, so like all the notes that you're hearing are just sour notes, like off notes. It sounds like someone who doesn't know how to play guitar, but really interesting rhythms influenced by like African tribal and Egyptian kind of stuff. Just a really, really experimental and interesting project. The only thing I would say about this project is that I wish it was better produced. The drums really sound like a shitty drum machine, and the guitars sound kind of tinny and chintzy. But I feel like he kind of uses that as a way to say, fuck the mainstream kind of sounds. It's not about production, it's about what I'm doing artistically, which is fine. I just think it needs to be a little bit more palatable to me to really like sink in and enjoy. But anyways, a really interesting band. So, on with the question. The question that I got was from a user. Let's see if I can maybe pull it up here quick. Anyway, the question that I got was from a YouTuber by the name of Cezar Shishka. Is that Czechoslovakian? Saying, where do you get your albums from? Any distro recommendations to get cheap deals? And it says you could make a video about that. I'm sure many of us will love it. So here you go. I've been kind of thinking about doing a video about this anyways, so I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you finally motivated me to do it. So I get my stuff from a lot of different places. I don't really have the luxury of having a record store nearby, There is one here in town, and it's amazing that it's still open. It does a lot of selling on Discogs, but it's more like for people who want to buy rare Beatles stuff and folk kind of shit, DJ singles and shit like that. I don't bother visiting very often. They'll have, the new LP reissue of this and this for $30 or something like that. They managed to anyways, I'm getting off topic. It doesn't matter. I don't get stuff from there very often, and if I do, it's used CDs usually for $6 or $7. So I don't have the luxury of having a store nearby. So pretty much everything I get is done through mail order. Primarily Discogs. I'm sure Discogs is nothing new to any of you guys, but I highly recommend maintaining a wish list on Discogs so that you can, every night you're emailed a list of all the things that are on your wish list and everybody who's selling them. You can check the prices. I really recommend keeping it on your wish list before you buy for quite a long time to see if the price, just to kind of get an idea of what you can expect to pay for something, whether it's old or new. And so usually I have the luxury of waiting until something falls into, between $20 and $10. That's right around where I try and spend on CDs because I get a lot of stuff in. As you can, this is everything I've gotten in a week, and I didn't pay very much for any of these. These fucking things, these were Russian bootlegs, €3 a piece. I think, honestly, shipped from Russia, it took quite a while, a couple of weeks, but I paid like $12 for both of these, So this, I paid like $10 or something, and this was shipped from Europe for like €3 or €4. I got. But so what I've been doing a lot is I find first of all, the postage prices in the United States is astronomical. So if I can find a CD that came out in the last 10 or 15 years from Europe, Scandinavia has some pretty high shipping prices. But if I can find something in Europe for between €5 and €10, the shipping is also between €5 and €10. I can pick up a release that I've been wanting to get for many years for about $10 to $15, which is what I would pay in a store if it were here. Hell, even sometimes in big cities, I see CDs going for $18, $19, $23 sometimes. LPs are a fucking totally different story. Those things go between $35 and $40 sometimes for a fucking double LP, and everything's a double LP now. So Discogs, maintain a Discogs wish list is a really, really good idea. I go through those things quite a bit, and I never really expected myself to be going with European sellers as often as I have lately. They're just selling stuff for cheaper. Their shipping costs often, they even out for a US distro, and the shit that I want you can't find in US distros anymore. So the next thing I've talked about this in a video before, but the metal detector fucking rules. I'll put a link in the description, obviously, for everything I talk about. But the metal detector is a website that aggregates the search engines for about 225 different distros and labels, including Amazon, Nuclear War Now, Hell's Headbangers, all that stuff. So you put in the artist and the album title. It's super simple. You just hit search, and it comes up with all different kinds of results. And you can look at the price. You can look at the format, tape, LP, CD, whatever, and just see what you want to pay. Sometimes you can luck out, and something's on Amazon Prime. I love Amazon Prime. So sometimes I'll get. I think this was actually Amazon Prime. This was $13 on Amazon Prime. So no shipping. So the metal detector is fucking amazing. I love it so much. I don't know. If you think about it, it leads buyers to sellers, and sometimes it leads you to a seller that you might not have ordinarily stumbled upon. But in a way, some sellers or distros are out there charging the price that they are because they have to. Maybe they, paid too much for it from a wholesale distributor or something, or their shipping costs are crazy wherever they're at. So in a way, it's kind of like it's kind of like a cheat, I guess I would say, for the buyer. But I really love it. It helps me maintain a steady stream of collectibles coming in on my meager budget. So the metal detector, I fucking love it. Next, I talked about this in a couple of videos, but I can't recommend it enough. Really consider it. If you live in the United States, Sepulchral Productions out of Canada, let me see, the conversion rate is pretty good between the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. So if something on Sepulchral Productions is like 10 Canadian dollars, it's about $7.50 US dollars. So you're gonna pay $7.50 for a CD, new CD, sealed in the shrink wrap, but you'll pay about $7 to $8 shipping. That may seem like a lot, but you're saving a shitload on those fucking CDs, maybe even LPs. I don't know what the prices on their LPs are. But since you're paying, you know, $5 to $10 for shipping on that one CD, you might as well order 2 or 3. So, like in a couple of videos ago, I got 3 CDs from Sepulchral Productions, and it wound up being like $28, maybe $30, I want to say. So that's like $10 a piece for a fucking 3 CDs. So Sepulchral Productions, tons of great stuff in the releases, in the distro, and also an amazing label of mainly Quebecois black metal. So you get all Fortress stuff. Frozen Shadows is another one. Another one I get a lot of stuff from is Bindrune. Every video I find some reason to talk about Bindrune or Marty, a good buddy of mine who got me into this YouTubing. Bindrune puts out so many unbelievable releases. Last year was pretty fucking brutal. Thankfully, Marty sent me a lot of the releases he put out, and there's also the sister label, or the side label of Bindrune called Iwaz. They put out a bunch of great stuff. That's fucking Marsh Dweller, Toshka, Pestifer on Iwaz. And then last year on Bindrune, there was fucking Vukari, Kriegsgrave, Panopticon, Falls Aurorus, reissues. So much good stuff. Volgafluster, Panphage, and then there's the Nordvist stuff, there's Stilla. It just never fucking ends. So I'm ordering from Bindrune maybe a lot. So I'm happy that I've made friends with Marty. So the next thing I recommend doing, if there's something out there that you're just not fucking able to find, or a lot of times there'll be like an exclusive release that's new, like say, for instance, I didn't find out about this until I was doing this. The Paysage de Verre LP reissues came out about 2 or 3 years ago, and I found out about that because I searched the Nuclear War Now forums, and I just typed in Paysage de Verre. I was like, somebody's got to be selling these fucking things, and lo and behold, I found a lot of times these small distros and labels who don't want to be all that mainstream and all that well known. You know, these are just guys who are just like reissuing stuff in really limited quantities so that they can just like have a copy of it, go to the post office a couple of times, sell out of the all the copies of the reissue, and then they're done. So you have to be one of the very first buyers to get a copy of these things. So Nuclear War Now, they'll go to the forum and they'll just post like an update on their distro, or they'll post, you know, hey, I'm going to be putting together a couple of these copies, yada yada yada. But then, so you'll find a post about some reissue or a new album coming out, and then you'll find that often, say it's like a European label, they'll say, hey, we got this new disc coming out, and then people will start to ask, so when is it coming into the United States? And then the US distro, whoever's going to be carrying it, whatever that may be, will chime in and say, I'm going to be getting a couple of copies on this day, you know, so keep an eye out for it. And then I'll go to their website, I'll sign up for their email newsletter, and then bam, I get an email whenever this disc I'm waiting for comes in, and then I order it right off the bat, and there you go. So that brings me to another topic. Stay subscribed to newsletters from labels. They email all the time, letting you know what's coming out, what's new in the distro, and you can keep track of it without having to go to their websites and shit, you know. Instead of playing games on your fucking phone all the time, having emails that let you know about stuff that you're looking forward to being able to buy and hoping that you get a chance to buy is a good use of time and a good use of having a smartphone with email on it. So the next and last one that I'm going to talk about is eBay. I honestly had written off eBay completely since I found Discogs, and I've been ordering shit on Discogs 2 or 3 times a week, it seems, for the last fucking 2 years or so. Goodbye eBay, right? But and the reason is because I just thought eBay had seemed like it had been overrun by all these stores instead of people actually just selling, you know, hawking a single copy of some album that they don't want anymore. You know, distros got really settled into selling stuff on eBay, and that's fine. It's a decent way to have a storefront that's aggregated through other labels. But I actually found that there were a lot of releases on Discogs that I was watching the prices of in my wish list, and the prices just weren't coming down to where I wanted to be paying, to what I wanted to be paying for them. So I decided the other day, let's go through my wish list on Discogs and look on eBay and see if any of that stuff is within my price range. And actually, I did that one night, and I ordered like 4 fucking CDs on eBay because the prices were too good to pass up. So I wound up getting like that MS. Like I said, I paid like €4 for this. I paid €5 to €7 for shipping on this thing. So it wound up costing me like about $11 to have it shipped from Europe. It takes a long time, you know, you just got to kind of play the waiting game, but if you order 1 CD every day, you eventually get 1 CD every day. Who fucking cares, right? Anyway, so eBay, I don't know, I'm still kind of on the fence about what to think about it, but there you go. That's where I buy stuff from primarily, and I guess I could also say whenever I go to a big city like Minneapolis or Chicago, I like to hit up the record stores, and I go straight to the used section. You know, that new section, it's going to have, what's it going to have? It's going to have the Death reissues for $18, so I can pay $18 for Scream Bloody Gore a second time. I don't know, those are great albums and shit, but I'm not going to be paying that kind of money for those fucking things because I know they're going to be in the used bin in a couple of years for pocket change. So I go straight to the used sections, I look for the stuff, that's where the most obscure stuff is. That's where the stuff is that people didn't like, which is usually the kind of stuff that I fucking like. Not to sound overwhelmingly oppositional, but that's just the way it is, man. So, you know, I'll walk out with a fucking stack of 17 CDs, and I spent $60. That's usually how it goes, and I fucking love it. I love being able to find, like, digging through those old, forgotten CDs and finding a gem in there, just like vinyl, you know, everybody loves digging through vinyl, but now it seems like vinyl's all the craze, and everybody loves getting through those bins and digging around looking for the gems, and now they're all fucking gone. Every time I swear, every time I look through a pile of vinyl somewhere at a used thrift store or a record store or something, it's just fucking Barbra Streisand, Barry Manilow shit, just nothing but garbage. So I don't even really bother that much anymore. But anyways, that's it for the video. Thanks for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't already, and have yourself a good week.